So Christianity these days seems to be coming under attack. Christianity in the West seems to be coming under attack, persecution. Christians are being, their voices are being muted across society, from media through to street evangelism, through to different churches being able to express certain theological and biblical positions. It seems that the Christian church is under persecution. Now, maybe 3-4 years ago, I was feeling there's going to be an element of persecution coming to the church, and I, in my mind, couldn't quite work out where it was coming from. Now we're in this area of persecution where the church is coming under attack, where Christians can't even really express their own beliefs in the workplace. Christians can't express their beliefs in family. It seems to be a mammoth attack against Christians and persecution. And this is what I feel that God is saying, is that there's a danger that the church enters into a victim mentality. That the church enters into almost a defeatist approach, where the church is feeling sorry for itself, where the church is trying to console itself under the midst of these persecutions. And there's a danger to that. There's a danger for the church to believe that it is entering into a victim mentality. The body of Christ may be persecuted, the body of Christ may be attacked. That's almost like given. That's what the early church went through. That's what happened to Jesus. Jesus told us that followers of Jesus will be hated by the world. That's part of it. But because Christians in the West hasn't experienced this level of persecution before, there is a danger that the church falls into this victim mentality approach. And what I feel that God is saying is that it should not fall under a defeatist victim mentality approach. That the church has victory. Jesus is going to come back to a victorious bride. We are a victorious bride. We're not a defeated, victimized church which is closing its doors, which its voice is being muted and is being driven out from society. And if the church is driven out from society, we're still going to be victorious. We are a victorious church. We are the victorious bride. Jesus is going to come back to marry victorious. We are more than conquerors. And the danger of the church having a victim mentality approach, the danger of the church feeling beaten up, feeling got at, is dangerous, because that filters down through the church, and the church ends up becoming woe is me, woe is me, woe is me, woe is me, woe is me. And by coming under that woe is me spirit, by the church bringing itself under that mentality, it does damage to the body of Christ. It does damage to the church. The body of Christ is victorious. We have the victory. Jesus done 2,000 years ago on the cross. He had victory. And we carry the same power of the cross that Jesus carried. This is not the end of the church's story in the West. This is not the end of the church. And sometimes, even in the darkest moments in Christian history, we look back through Christian history, church history, some of the most darkest moments in society, some of the most darkest moments in the history of the church preceded revival. One of the signs of revival is society turning its back on the church being beaten up, the church being victimised. In this atmosphere, this is where revival thrives. Revival comes breaking in to this environment. Wesleyan revival broke out, and in the context of the church, more or less being hated. Persecution that the church is going through in the West is an indication, because the enemy is concerned. The enemy knows that God's going to pour out his spirit on our nation, that the church is to be victorious in our nation, that the end is not yet. The enemy wants to hasten it. The enemy wants to shut down the church. The enemy wants to stop a coming move of God. So he stirs up all his trouble against the church. But the church must not enter into a victim mentality, defeatist approach. The church has to maintain a victorious position all the time, because that is the truth. The enemy may want to make the church feel like it's beaten up. The enemy may want to make the church feel like it's got at. The enemy may want to make the church feel like it's a persecuted minority that's driven out society. But the church must not come under that spirit. The church must always walk in the power of the cross, the victory of the cross. The church is not defeated, it is victorious. Its end destiny is to be a victorious church. We have the victory. So the body of Christ needs to operate out of that mentality of victory, a mentality of conquerors, a mentality of we will not be victimised and feel victim mentality. That will bind us, that will mute us, that will do more damage to the church than any form of persecution would. So that's awfully quick, but that's kind of what I feel that the Lord is saying to me this morning. Hope you like this, and I'll talk to you soon.